I hear a couple of things. Number one, what I hear you saying is that through this mentor couple program,
Yes.
you can keep marriages together, which kind of leads me to believe then at this point that there are people that are getting divorced that may not even want to get divorced if they just had the tools that they knew how to negotiate their marriage.
Right. And the beauty of this is that this is all very low cost, virtually no cost, almost no cost.
Right.
In the case of our original church, I mentioned to you that 20% of couples decided not to marry.
Right.
But of the 288 couples who we prepared for marriage, who 20%, about 58 of them decided not to marry, but of the 220 who did marry in the 1990s, our mentor couples several years ago went back and checked, and we found that the divorce rate was less than 10%.
That is amazing.
We only could find 8 or 10 divorces in 200 plus couples.
Why is this not being adopted more by the church? I'm finding, from what I've seen with the church, by and large, I'm not talking about every church, but by and large, churches don't tend to do a lot when it comes down to the issue of marriage and divorce. They're almost on the sidelines watching it take place.
Here's the reason. Pastors are not trained in seminary to do anything about divorce and marriage. They're trained in Greek.
Yeah.
That's a biggie. Why do we have to be trained in Greek? So they can translate the Bible? I just think we need to change the curriculum of seminaries so that pastors are trained in these solutions. There's not one seminary that's doing it right. And pastors, the divorces in their church are the thing that absolutely horrifies pastors when they don't know what to do about it.
Right.
And it's not because they're stupid, it's just that they haven't heard what works. It's not obvious.
So the church that I go to back in Dallas, it's Watermark Church. Maybe you've heard of it. Watermark.
Watermark.
Yes. Watermark Church. And what you're talking about as far as the marriage mentor couple program, they have a program there called Re-Engage. And in the Re-Engage program, it's doing basically the exact same thing. It's bringing in married couples, some that have, for the most part, always had a successful marriage, others that have gone through the process and they've healed, and they're giving back to other people. But this whole Re-Engage program, they're taking couples that can be either on the brink of divorce, maybe they even have divorced each other, maybe they're just struggling in their marriage, but they're seeing at the same time so many people's marriage stay together. And even in some instances where the people have divorced, they've remarried.
Good.
Out of this thing.
Wonderful.
So, and I talked with another man in Dallas as well. I don't remember his name right offhand. I haven't talked with him for over a year or so, but he's doing the exact same thing that you were talking about. And I think he told me, he said, Jeff, about 75% of the people that come to us looking for divorce work their marriage out.
Good.
So it's the same thing.
Well, the church can become a marriage saver. And that we use this Marriage Savers as the title of our organization.
Right.
And we think it's an important answer. The problem is that most churches have never heard of what works, or if they heard about it, then we get invited in and we can work in that one community. But this has not been a subject of national television, for example. It should be. Because the need is so great. Our divorce rate in the United States is higher than that of any other modern nation. After 5 years of marriage, our divorce rate is triple that of Britain, for example. Now that's in part because of the law that we were talking about. You can't get divorced quickly in Britain.
I think it's a 5-year waiting program.
5-year waiting period.
Yeah.
If the divorce is contested.
Right.
And so many couples reconcile in that period.
Right.
But there's not a strategy to put, and they're actually going in the opposite direction now. They're cutting that time down.
Yeah.
In Britain. I think they have passed a law to cut it back to 2 years. But in any case, with the highest divorce rate in the world, we have a responsibility to try to help do a better job preparing, enriching, or restoring marriages. That's our mission. That's what we've done. And I've written a book, as you know, called Marriage Savers,
Right.
which tells the story of this, a number of these communities. The time I wrote the book, which was 1995, we had, I think, 14 or so cities that had adopted a community marriage policy. Once the book was published by Zondervan, pastors read about it and began inviting us in various cities across the country. So that's how it's spread.
Okay. Okay, so how many, but right now you've said about 220 cities?
230 cities.
230 cities. One other question I'd like to ask you with the whole marriage savers and keeping the families intact. And you've kind of touched on it earlier, the crime rate drop. But what do you see as far as the mental health of children? Because divorce is one of the most traumatic events.
It's awful.